Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. There are moments when your heart races before anything has happened, as if the body knows something is near. A door about to open, a phone about to ring, a storm about to arrive. Long before reason can explain, your consciousness trembles with a quiet whisper, sensing the shape of events just beyond the horizon of now. Science has long wondered about this fragile thread between the present and the yet to come, and though the answers are gentle and incomplete, they invite us into a mystery as vast as time itself. The brain is not only a recorder of past experiences, it is also a silent prophet, always preparing you for what has not yet taken place. Inside your skull, billions of neurons exchange signals in restless currents of electricity. They do not wait for the world to strike. They predict, anticipate, and prepare. When you walk down a staircase, your brain fires in advance of each step, calculating balance before your foot even touches the surface. When you listen to a melody, it sings in your neurons a fraction of a second before the note arrives, so that when the sound reaches your ears, you're already ready to receive it. Consciousness is not passive, it leans forward. It lives slightly ahead of the present moment, perched at the edge of what is about to be. Scientists call this anticipation predictive processing. The mind does not simply watch the world as a film, it constantly edits, guesses, and rewrites, making the real appear seamless. Your eyes capture fragments of light, your brain paints them into shapes and movements that have not yet fully formed. This is why you can catch a ball thrown toward you, because your mind runs ahead, sketching the arc of its flight in invisible chalk before it completes its path. It is why you can finish someone's sentence or sense the mood of a room before a word has been spoken. We call it intuition, but underneath it is an orchestra of signals rehearsing the future in real time. Imagine standing at the shoreline as waves roll in. Each wave seems to arrive from nothing, but the ocean was already preparing it long before it touched the sand. Your body does the same. Muscles tighten before a fall. Pupils widen before darkness deepens. The heart slows in anticipation of calm and quickens before the unknown. It is as if the body holds a memory of events not yet born. Some researchers wonder if this is simply calculation, probability, and prediction, while others suggest it touches on something stranger, that consciousness is stretched, not fixed, spanning slightly into the moments ahead. Experiments hint at this mystery. In studies of reaction time, people often begin to respond milliseconds before a stimulus appears. Electrodes placed on the scalp detect brain activity that surges in advance, as though the mind has already leaned forward into the next beat. When participants are shown random images, their bodies sometimes show subtle changes, a flutter in the heart, a shift in the skin's conductivity, seconds before an emotionally charged image is revealed. Skeptics say this may be chance noise in the data, yet the question lingers, like a candle flickering at the edge of a darkened room. Does consciousness have a faint touch of foresight? Even if it is only prediction, the beauty remains. For anticipation itself is a kind of gentle prophecy. Every morning when you wake, your brain is already rehearsing the day. It recalls patterns of the sun's arc, the rhythm of your habits, the tone of voices you are likely to hear. It sketches the hours ahead in watercolor strokes of expectation. Sometimes it is right, sometimes wrong, but always it is painting, 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 never waiting for life to fully arrive. And in that way, you are never fully in the present. You're always straddling two worlds, the moment unfolding now, and the one that your consciousness quietly prepares for. Think of memory not as a book of the past, but as a lantern that shines into the fog of tomorrow. Each remembered experience becomes a guidepost, a suggestion of what might happen again. When a child learns that fire burns, the lesson is stored not only as history but as warning, so that the next time the glow of flame appears, the hand withdraws before pain returns. Memory and anticipation are twins holding hands across the bridge of time. One looks back, the other forward, but together they make you whole. Without memory, there could be no anticipation. Without anticipation, memory would be an echo with no purpose. Now imagine a flock of birds in flight. They turn not one by one, but all at once, a ripple of wings shifting in unison. To an observer, it seems they predict each other's motion, as though they feel the future of the flock in their bones. Your brain too is like this. A murmuration of cells, each predicting the next, so that thought feels seamless and motion feels fluid. Consciousness is not a spotlight shining on isolated instants. It is a field that breathes ahead of itself, weaving the coming second into the fabric of now. In poetry, we say the body has premonitions. In science, we call it anticipation. In daily life, it feels like intuition. Whatever name we give, it is the same quiet truth. You are always a little ahead of yourself. You laugh before the punchline is finished. You flinch before the thunderclap. You brace before the wave. In these small moments, your consciousness shows its secret, that it is not bound to the present like a prisoner, but drifts into the near future like a kite tethered to possibility. And perhaps this is why the future feels familiar when it arrives. It is because you've already touched it. Your mind rehearsed it. Your body prepared for it. Your heart anticipated it. The present is never entirely new. It is a door your consciousness has already peeked behind. And though the mystery of how far this anticipation extends remains unsolved, there is a kind of comfort in knowing that part of you is always gently waiting, reaching, feeling the future before it fully blooms. To wander deeper into anticipation is to wander deeper into the architecture of the brain itself. At first glance, anticipation feels like an emotion, like hope or dread, but beneath it lies the steady machinery of biology. Inside your cortex, prediction is its own rhythm, pulsing through circuits that never truly rest. Every sensation you receive, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of footsteps behind you, the taste of salt on your tongue, is not only registered, but compared to a library of past experiences. From this comparison rises a forecast, a sketch of what is likely to come next. The mind is less a mirror and more a painter, always stroking new colours across the canvas of what reality might be. This predictive rhythm is not limited to thought. It is woven into your body like thread through fabric. Muscles anticipate before they move. When you reach for a cup of water, the hand shapes itself before contact. When you prepare to speak, your lips tremble into position before sound arrives. Every gesture of your existence carries with it a shadow of the moment ahead. If it did not, life would feel like stumbling through darkness, reacting always too late. Instead, it feels like a dance, guided by a choreography you half know before the music begins. Neuroscientists sometimes describe this as error correction. The brain is constantly making guesses, then adjusting them when the world reveals itself. In this way, consciousness is like a sailor navigating by stars, correcting the wheel with every shift of wind and wave. Prediction is not about being perfect, it is about being ready enough. You might misjudge the depth of a puddle or the timing of a handshake, but most of the time the forecast is close enough to carry you gracefully forward. Without this steady guessing, you would be lost in the endless flood of stimuli, unable to find the thread of continuity that makes life coherent. Think about music, that universal language of rhythm and tone. You do not hear notes one by one as strangers. You feel them as a chain, a progression that seems to lean into what comes next. Anticipation is what allows your foot to tap, your body to sway. If you could not predict the next beat, music would collapse into meaningless noise. But because your mind sketches the beat ahead, you experience flow. The melody lifts you into a river of time, and you feel carried rather than stranded. In this sense, music is not only sound, it is the art of playing with the brain's hunger for the future. Consider too the act of language. When someone begins a sentence, you often finish it silently before they do. This is not rudeness, but the very way your brain is built. It listens not just for words, but for patterns, probabilities, meanings that are likely to appear. Every conversation is a duet between what is said and what is expected. This is why misunderstandings sting. They break the rhythm of prediction, and it is why good storytelling captivates, because it dances between expectation and surprise, giving you enough to anticipate while still leaving space for wonder. In the natural world, anticipation is not optional. It is survival. A gazelle must sense the twitch of grass before the lion leaps. A bird must feel the air shift before the storm breaks. Even plants anticipate bending toward the sun before dawn arrives, opening blossoms at the hours when pollinators are most likely to visit. Anticipation is not a luxury of consciousness. It is life's way of reaching forward, of preparing for what cannot yet be seen. In this way, every organism is a prophet of its own tomorrow, whispering to itself what might come and moving gently in response. There is a soft poetry in the way anticipation carries emotion. Hope is simply the anticipation of joy. Fear is the anticipation of harm. Longing is the anticipation of closeness not yet here. In all these feelings, the mind is leaning ahead, stretching toward futures imagined but not yet real. This is why the future feels heavy even before it arrives, because you are already holding it in your chest. The body rehearses happiness and sorrow alike, painting tomorrow in colours borrowed from memory and imagination. Modern science explores anticipation in curious experiments. In one, researchers show participants a sequence of images, some neutral, others disturbing. Monitors measure heart rate, skin temperature, and brain activity. Often changes appear before the unsettling image is revealed, as though the body is bracing in advance. Some say this is coincidence, a trick of probability, but others wonder if consciousness reaches further than we admit. Is it possible the mind feels the tremor of an event before the event itself? Or is anticipation simply so woven into us that we mistake our own predictions for glimpses of the future? Philosophers remind us that time itself is a construct of perception. What you call the present is already delayed by fractions of a second, the time it takes for light to reach your eyes and for signals to travel to your brain. In truth, you are always living in the past of what is actually happening. And yet, because your mind predicts ahead, you feel synchronized with the world. It is as if consciousness is a bridge, extending backward to what just occurred and forward to what is about to happen, so that you stand balanced in the illusion of now. Think of standing in a forest, listening to the rustle of leaves. Each sound arrives as a whisper of the future fulfilled. A twig snaps, and already your body tightens, preparing for the possibility of an animal nearby. Gust of wind shifts, and already you brace for the sway of branches. In this way, the forest becomes not only a place you inhabit, but a script you are reading a line ahead. Every sound is both an event and a promise of the next. Consciousness too is like this, a forest of signals, each one leaning into a tomorrow. And so we drift back to the heart of the question, what is the self if not a story always unfolding a few steps ahead? You think of yourself as a being in the present, but much of who you are lives in anticipation. Your goals are futures rehearsed. Your fears are futures rehearsed. Your love even is a future rehearsed. The hope of connection carried forward into each glance and gesture. To live is to lean forward, to let consciousness feel the ripple of what is not yet, and to let that ripple guide you softly, as the moon tugs the tide before the waves actually rise. Anticipation is not only survival and not only science, it is also art. The painter anticipates the next stroke, the dancer anticipates the next step, the poet anticipates the next word. Creation itself is a dialogue with what is about to come into being. To anticipate is to participate in the birth of moments, to midwife the future with every gesture and thought. And when you realize this, even ordinary life feels sacred. Drinking tea becomes not only the act of sipping warmth, but the act of waiting for the next note of flavour, the next quiet breath of steam. Life itself becomes an unfolding anticipation, a poem written one heartbeat before it is read. And perhaps this is why sleep is so mysterious. As consciousness drifts, anticipation softens, and yet even in dreams the brain continues to predict. Nightmares anticipate danger, pleasant dreams anticipate comfort. The mind rehearses futures in the theatre of sleep, as if preparing you for lives not yet lived. When you wake, the dreams dissolve, but the feeling remains, a trace of futures that may never come, but which still shaped the contours of your being. In the end, anticipation may be nothing more than the nervous system's way of staying alive, or it may be something more, a glimpse into the delicate fabric of time, where past, present and future are not so separate as we think. To feel anticipation is to feel time itself bending, to sense the shape of the next moment pressing gently against the walls of now. It is to live with one foot already stepping into tomorrow, and to find beauty in that endless, tender reaching forward. If anticipation is the quiet whisper of the future, then resolution is the gentle exhale that follows. To live always leaning ahead could be exhausting, yet the mind transforms it into something seamless, something almost invisible. You do not feel the gears of prediction grinding inside you. Instead, you feel life flowing, as if the present were naturally complete. But this completeness is an illusion carefully woven by the brain, which constantly fills the gaps, hides the errors, and soothes the edges of time. Consciousness is not simply awareness, it is awareness braided with the soft thread of expectation. Consider the way you walk across a crowded street. Cars pass, people cross, sounds echo from all directions. If you were only processing what had already happened, you would be frozen, too late to step, too late to respond. Instead, your mind runs a moment ahead, sketching each trajectory, each rhythm of motion, allowing you to move gracefully through chaos. Life feels continuous, not because the world is continuous, but because your consciousness anticipates enough to smooth the edges. You're not merely living the present, you're rehearsing the next step of it before it unfolds. The beauty of this anticipation is not only practical but poetic, for it means that part of you is always in dialogue with the unseen. You are never limited to what has already occurred. You're always carrying with you the faint light of what might come next. This light is not a certainty. It flickers, shifts, and sometimes fades. Yet it is enough to guide you. Like a lantern swinging on a path at dusk, it casts enough glow forward that the darkness does not overwhelm. And perhaps this is the gift of anticipation. It is the way consciousness ensures that the future, however uncertain, feels navigable. There are moments in life when anticipation swells into something almost mystical. A pause before music begins, the hush before a loved one speaks words that will change everything, the silence before dawn when the world is still, and yet you feel the approach of light. These are thresholds where consciousness seems to tremble, as if aware of futures about to bloom. In those moments, time itself feels fragile, stretched between what has not yet been and what is about to arrive, and in that fragility you feel the depth of being alive. Science continues to study this edge of time. Machines record brain waves, track eye movements, measure the subtle rise and fall of heartbeats. Each study reveals the same truth. That anticipation is everywhere, from the smallest reflex to the grandest thought. Athletes train their muscles to anticipate split-second shifts in speed. Musicians hone their sense of rhythm to anticipate changes in tone. Even mathematicians anticipate patterns in numbers before proof arrives. The capacity to feel the future is not a rare gift. It is the very ground of intelligence, the pulse that makes thought possible. Yet anticipation is not infallible. Sometimes the guesses go astray. You prepare for joy that never comes, or brace for pain that never arrives. These moments reveal the vulnerability of prediction, the tender risk of leaning ahead. But even here, there is a lesson. For it is not the correctness of anticipation that matters most, but the willingness to reach forward at all. To anticipate is to hope. To anticipate is to trust that the future exists and that you may step into it. Without this reaching, life would collapse into static instants, unconnected and empty. Reflect on memory once more. Just as anticipation leans into tomorrow, memory leans into yesterday, and the two meet in the space of now. Together they weave a fabric strong enough to hold identity. You remember who you have been, you anticipate who you might become, and in the tension between the two, you feel yourself as a continuous being. Without anticipation, the self would be fragmented, unable to connect one heartbeat to the next. Without memory, anticipation would have no soil to grow in. They are mirrors, each giving the other meaning. The closing thought, then, is not about prediction as mechanism, but about anticipation as essence. Consciousness may be defined in countless ways: awareness, reflection, perception, but at its heart it is also anticipation, the art of leaning forward. To be conscious is not only to know what is, but to sense what is about to be. This leaning is quiet, soft, and nearly invisible, but it is the heartbeat of experience, and when you slow down enough to notice it, when you feel yourself bracing before thunder or smiling before a word is spoken, you glimpse the gentle miracle that anticipation truly is. And so we return to the whisper that began this story. The whisper of the body that knows before the mind, the whisper of the mind that guesses before the world, the whisper of consciousness leaning gently into the next moment. It is not prophecy, not magic, but something both simpler and more profound. It is life itself unfolding always a step ahead, carrying you forward through the river of time. And in this river you are never stranded. You are always already moving into the future, already feeling what has not yet arrived, already alive in the shimmer of what is to come. In the stillness of night, when the world rests and your own thoughts soften, you may sense this more clearly. Lying in bed, eyes closed, you feel the next breath before it comes, the next beat of the heart before it arrives. Consciousness does not end at the present. It spills a little into tomorrow, reminding you that you are a being not only of memory, but of anticipation. And with this realization comes peace, the peace of knowing that you are carried forward, gently and inevitably, by the quiet anticipation woven into the fabric of your mind and body. So let this whisper remain with you. Let it remind you that your life is not just a series of moments, but a continuous unfolding guided by the subtle hand of anticipation. Whether in fear or in joy, in longing or in love, you are always feeling the future, always leaning into what has not yet come. And in that leaning you find not only survival, but also meaning, beauty and grace. For to anticipate is to be alive, and to be alive is to always touch, however softly, the edge of tomorrow. There is a rhythm within you that you did not choose, a rhythm that beats not with drums or strings, but with light and shadow. From the moment you were born, your body began to move in time with the world, swaying to the silent music of day and night. This rhythm is not heard with the ears, but felt in every cell, as if the entire body were an orchestra conducted by the sun. Science calls it the circadian rhythm, but to live it feels like something more ancient, like a hidden clock etched into the fabric of life itself. When morning comes, your body stirs before your mind is aware. Hormones rise, warmth spreads, blood begins to flow with new energy. It is not simply the alarm that wakes you, it is the body anticipating dawn, the cells remembering light even before the eyes open. In the evening, when shadows stretch long, a different tide rises. Melatonin drifts into the bloodstream, the eyelids grow heavy, and the body begins to surrender to night. This sound cycle continues without pause, a pulse of roughly 24 hours that carries you like a boat on an unseen current. You are never truly apart from it. You are made of it. This rhythm is older than humanity. Even the simplest life forms, drifting in ancient seas billions of years ago, bent themselves to the turning of the earth. Cyanobacteria, the tiny architects of oxygen, learned to time their photosynthesis to the rise and fall of the sun. Plants today still follow this hidden clock, opening leaves in the morning, closing them in darkness, as if bowing to the sun in a ritual older than memory. Animals too move by this rhythm. Birds rise at dawn not only because the sky brightens, but because their inner clocks are wound to anticipate the light. Insects, flowers, fish, and mammals all share this quiet inheritance. It is the earth itself, written into flesh. Inside your own body, the master of this rhythm lies in a small cluster of neurons, no larger than a grain of rice deep within the hypothalamus. This is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the conductor of your internal symphony. From this tiny cluster flows the tempo that guides sleep and wakefulness, hunger and digestion, alertness and rest. Signals travel outward like ripples, touching organs and tissues, whispering when to rise, when to rest, when to heal. But even this master clock is not alone. Nearly every cell in your body holds its own smaller rhythm, tiny clocks ticking in muscle, liver, skin and bone. Together they form a choir, countless voices humming in unison, creating the harmony of life's daily song. You can feel this silent clock most clearly when it falters. Jet lag bends it out of tune, leaving you awake when the world sleeps, tired when the world stirs. Shift work strains it, forcing the body to pretend that night is day and day is night. Even staying up too late beneath glowing screens unsettles it. For the body reads light as language, an artificial glow can confuse the message of the sun. These disruptions remind you how deeply tied you are to the natural rhythm, how fragile the balance can be, and how much peace arrives when you move in step with the silent clock within. But the rhythm is not mechanical, it is poetic. When you wake in early morning and feel the crispness of air, you are not only sensing the environment but also aligning with a cycle that has turned for eons. When you yawn at night and feel the weight of sleep descend, you are not only weary, but also part of the Earth's great breathing, inhaling light and exhaling darkness in a pattern that repeats endlessly. It is as though time itself lives inside you, not as numbers on a clock, but as a pulse in your blood, a tide in your bones, a whisper in your cells. This whisper shapes more than sleep. It touches mood, memory, and health. Studies show that learning is strongest at certain hours, creativity blooms at others, and healing deepens in the quiet of night. The immune system rallies in darkness, repairing and renewing. Muscles grow more efficiently when trained in alignment with circadian peaks. Even emotions bend with this cycle, rising and falling like tides. Morning light often brings clarity, while night invites reflection, sometimes sorrow, sometimes peace. To ignore this rhythm is to fight the very current of being. To honour it is to find yourself floating more gently along the stream of time. It is easy to think of time as an external force marked by clocks on walls and calendars on paper. But in truth, time is also biological, flowing through you as surely as blood or breath. Each heartbeat is a marker, each cycle of hormones a chapter, and at the centre of this book is the circadian rhythm, turning its pages in silence, guiding you through the rise and fall of every day. You're not separate from time, you are its vessel, its expression, its continuation. To feel the rhythm is to feel your belonging to the earth, to the sun, to the rotation of the planet itself. Imagine for a moment a forest at dawn. The air shifts, the birds stir, flowers tilt upward, insects hum with new vigour. The entire ecosystem wakes not randomly but together, each species guided by its own clock, yet harmonised by the same sun. You are part of this chorus. Your own rising is not different from the bird's song or the flower's bloom. You wake not only because you must, but because the planet itself has turned, and your cells have turned with it. To feel this truth is to feel less alone, to sense that you are part of a rhythm vast and eternal. In this way, the silent clock within is more than science. It is a reminder of connection. It tells you that your body is not a machine apart from the world, but a participant in its cycles. It tells you that rest is not weakness, but alignment, that sleep is not lost time, but communion with the rhythm of the earth. And when you pause long enough to honour this rhythm, to step into sunlight at morning, to surrender to darkness at night, you may feel a calmness settle in your chest, a quiet assurance that you are living not against time but with it. And so the silent clock continues, turning without sound, guiding without words, marking your days with the gentle cadence of light and shadow. It does not demand your attention, yet it shapes your existence more profoundly than any schedule you write. It is the song you are always singing whether you hear it or not. And when you do listen, when you notice the swell of wakefulness at dawn or the tender pull of sleep at dusk, you hear not only your own body but the heartbeat of the earth itself. To drift further into the mystery of the silent clock is to recognize how deeply it threads through every part of life. You may think of the circadian rhythm as a cycle of waking and sleeping, but it is more than that. It is the invisible conductor of digestion, the hidden choreographer of hormones, the soft metronome of emotion. From the moment you rise to the moment you rest, this rhythm shapes not only your energy, but also your thoughts, your feelings, and your sense of being. In the morning, cortisol levels gently rise, not as punishment but as invitation, nudging your body to awaken. This hormone sharpens the mind, lifts alertness, and prepares muscles to move. As the hours progress, temperature climbs, coordination strengthens, and the mind feels most ready for tasks. By midday, the body is at its peak of vigilance, focus heightened, memory eager to record. Later, as the sun drifts lower, melatonin begins its quiet ascent, whispering of rest. The stomach slows, the muscles relax, the mind begins to drift toward dream. Each of these shifts is timed not by the clock on your wall, but by the silent clock within, the body's ancient agreement with the turning earth. This internal rhythm is not rigid. It breathes with individuality, shaped by genetics, age, and habit. Some are larks, rising early, their minds sharp with dawn. Others are owls, most alive when the world has gone to sleep. These chronotypes are variations on the same theme, different instruments playing within the same symphony. They remind us that the silent clock is not a cage but a song, flexible enough to bend yet steady enough to guide. To find your rhythm is to find your place in the music, to move with the notes that are already written into your being. Scientists have discovered that nearly every organ in the body keeps its own time. The liver anticipates meals, priming itself to digest before food arrives. The heart beats with patterns that shift with the hour, more likely to stumble in the quiet of early morning. The skin heals faster by day than by night, as if cells themselves feel the sun. Each organ is a clock unto itself, yet all must harmonize with the master rhythm of the brain. When these clocks fall out of sync, illness stirs. Metabolism falters, mood darkens, immunity weakens. Health is not only what you eat or how you move, it is also how well your inner clocks keep time. The poetry of this system lies in its relationship to light. Light is not only illumination, it is language. Morning light carries the strongest signal, a phrase of photons that tells the brain, awaken, align, begin again. Without this cue, the rhythm drifts, like a boat untethered, floating into misalignment. This is why the glow of screens at night unsettles sleep. The body mistakes it for dawn and holds back the tide of rest. And yet light is also healing. Studies show that patients in hospital rooms with morning sunlight recover faster, as if the body remembers its ancient pact with the sun. To sit in sunlight is to tune your inner instrument, to let the body remember the time that the earth itself keeps. Anticipation is also part of this rhythm. Just as your body prepares for dawn before the sun rises, it prepares for meals before food is served. Hormones surge in expectation, saliva pools, digestion primes itself. This anticipation, called the cephalic phase, reveals how the silent clock is always leaning forward, feeling the future. It does not wait for events to arrive, but prepares for them in advance. This is why routine feels so powerful. When meals, sleep, and movement follow consistent times, the body learns the pattern, anticipates it, and thrives. To live in rhythm is to live in gentle harmony with both self and world. There is also a connection between the silent clock and memory. During sleep, particularly in the deep phases of night, the brain replays the symphonies of the day, strengthening connections, weaving experiences into lasting recollections. If the rhythm is broken, this weaving falters, leaving memory fragmented, emotions unsettled. Students who align study with circadian peaks recall more clearly. Artists who honour the rhythm often find their creativity blooms at consistent hours. Even the heart remembers, beating with subtle shifts that match the body's daily tides. The silent clock is not only about time but about continuity, the way life knits itself into meaning. At its deepest level, the circadian rhythm is tied to the cosmos. It is not only about the sun's rise and fall, but about the turning of the Earth itself. Every 24 hours, the planet spins once, and with it spins every organism that lives upon its surface. To sense the rhythm of your body is to sense the rhythm of the Earth, to feel that you are not separate but woven into the great turning of the world. In this way, circadian rhythm is not just science but a form of belonging, a reminder that you are a child of the planet, moving always in step with its eternal dance. And so we can see that the silent clock is both practical and poetic. It tells you when to eat, when to rest, when to wake, and when to dream. But it also tells you that you are part of something greater, that your days are not isolated fragments but linked to the very spinning of the Earth. To honour this rhythm is to feel at home, to sense that time is not an enemy but a companion, guiding you gently forward. And when you close your eyes at night, surrendering to the pull of sleep, you are not falling into darkness alone. You're falling into rhythm, into the ancient tide that's carried life since the first dawn and will continue long after. The rhythm of life does not end at the edges of the body. It radiates outward, linking you to others, to ecosystems, to the world itself. The silent clock within is not only a private melody but part of a symphony that spans species and landscapes. When you rise in the morning, countless other beings rise too, guided by their own inner timekeepers. When you drift into sleep, the world around you also shifts, the nocturnal stirring as the diurnal rests. It is a great choreography, and though you may not always notice it, you are a dancer within it, moving to a pattern older than memory. What is most remarkable about this rhythm is how it persists, even when cut off from the outer world. In deep caves where no light enters, human subjects kept under observation continue to cycle, their bodies still following an internal schedule, though it may drift slightly longer than 24 hours. The rhythm is written so deeply into biology that it does not vanish even when the sun is hidden. It is not imposed by the outside alone, it is generated from within, a testament to how life has carved time into its very essence. Yet without the sun to guide it, the clock drifts, as though longing for the star that has always been its companion. Modern life often forgets this. Cities glow through the night, dissolving the natural cues of dark and light. Work schedules extend into hours the body would prefer for rest. Even the simple act of checking a glowing screen at midnight whispers to the brain that dawn has come. And while technology has freed humanity from many constraints, it has also distanced us from the silent wisdom of our own rhythms. This distance can bring fatigue, anxiety, imbalance. The body is not a machine that can run endlessly. It is a being shaped by cycles, and when those cycles are ignored, harmony falters. To return to balance is not merely a matter of health, but a matter of listening, of remembering the ancient music within. Science affirms this with clarity. Chronic disruption of circadian rhythm has been linked to mood disorders, metabolic diseases, weakened immunity, even shortened lifespan. Yet the remedy is often simple. Align with light. Respect the cycles of rest. Give the body the consistency it craves. Morning sunlight can reset the clock, anchoring the day. Darkness at night can invite melatonin to flow, weaving sleep. Meals taken at regular times can tune the organs. Exercise performed with the sun can strengthen the rhythm. These are not only practices of health but gestures of reverence, acknowledgements that you are not separate from the turning earth, but bound to its spin. Beyond health there is also beauty. When you rise with dawn and see the horizon bloom with light, you are not simply beginning another day, you are part of a cosmic ritual, a participant in the endless cycle of shadow and glow. When you close your eyes at night and feel sleep descend, you are not simply shutting down but entering the deeper tides of the planet, surrendering to the same rhythm that guides oceans and winds. Life becomes more than survival when seen this way. It becomes poetry and unfolding harmony, where even rest and waking are verses in the same song. The silent clock also offers lessons in humility. It reminds you that you are not the master of time, but its companion. No matter how many alarms you set, no matter how you fill your calendar, your body moves to a deeper schedule, one older and wiser than your plans. To fight it is to strain against the tide. To honor it is to find peace. In a world that rushes endlessly, the silent clock whispers of patience, of cycles that cannot be hurried. Dawn will come when it comes, night will fall when it falls, and your body, like the earth, knows when to rest and when to rise. To accept this is to soften, to let go, to live more gently. Imagine again the forest, this time at dusk. The light fades, the air cools, creatures settle into their places. Some withdraw into burrows, some spread wings into the dark. You too feel the pull of rest. It is not weakness, it is belonging. You are not separate from this world, but part of its breathing, one inhale of light, one exhale of shadow. The silent clock does not speak, yet it tells you this truth each day, that you are woven into the planet's turning, that your life is measured not only by years, but by the endless dance of days and nights. And perhaps, in the quiet of night when sleep is near, you might feel gratitude for this rhythm. Gratitude that the body knows when to heal, when to wake, when to dream. Gratitude that you are never truly lost in time, but carried by it, held within its flow. The silent clock within you is not a burden but a gift, a reminder that you belong to the earth, to the sun, to the great turning of days. And when you listen closely, when you align your life with its cadence, you may find yourself not only healthier, but calmer, more at peace, more alive in the gentle truth that you are part of time itself. So let the silent clock keep its rhythm. Let it guide you without force, without demand. Rise when the light calls, rest when the dark embraces, eat when the body asks, and dream when sleep invites. In these simple acts, you are honoring the most ancient song, the one that began when life first opened eyes to the sun, the song that still plays in your cells, steady and soft, the song that reminds you every day that you are alive in the turning, alive in the rhythm, alive in the eternal pulse of the silent clock within. There are moments when you hear the world before it arrives. A shadow of sound lingers in your mind, a subtle expectation that fills the silence. When someone raises a hand to knock on a door, you almost hear the knock before it falls. When a friend draws breath to speak, the sentence has already bloomed in your thoughts. It is as if the brain holds an echo of what has not yet occurred, a gentle rehearsal of the future. Science calls this anticipation of perception, but to live it feels like a strange poetry, a soft reminder that you are always leaning into tomorrow. Perception is not passive. It does not simply wait for signals to enter the senses. It prepares, predicts, and fills the gaps. The eyes do not only see, they expect. The ears do not only hear, they anticipate. This is why a familiar song feels whole even when some notes are missing. Why a half-seen figure in the fog becomes a shape you recognize. Why a sentence interrupted still carries meaning. The mind does not wait for completion. It completes the world in advance, weaving echoes before sounds, images before sights, gestures before touch. Consciousness is not a mirror, but a painter sketching what is likely to appear. Consider the way you listen to language. Speech is a rushing stream, faster than the ear can truly process, and yet you understand because the brain is not catching up but leaping ahead, predicting the next syllables, the next words, the next ideas. If you had to wait for every sound to be fully processed, meaning would lag behind, sentences would dissolve into noise. Instead, your mind sketches possibilities, filling sense with expectation, allowing you to live always one step ahead of the present moment. You do not simply hear speech, you hear echoes of speech that has not yet come. The same is true of vision. Your eyes capture fragments, fleeting bursts of light and colour, yet you see the world as whole, steady, continuous. This is because the brain fills the gaps, predicting motion, anticipating position. When a ball rolls across the ground, you see not only where it is, but where it will be. When a bird arcs through the sky, your gaze follows not just its path, but its likely future. Vision is not a snapshot, it is a forecast. Every glance carries with it a trace of what has not yet arrived. An echo of the next instant painted before the present has even faded. This forecasting is not always accurate. Sometimes the mind's echo deceives. A rustle in the grass becomes a snake when it is only the wind. A shadow in the night becomes a stranger when it is only a branch. These mistakes reveal the truth. That perception is prediction. The brain guesses, often wisely, sometimes poorly, but always in service of survival. Better to mistake wind for a snake than to mistake a snake for wind. Anticipation keeps life safe, though it sometimes cloaks reality in illusions. And in these illusions, you see the delicate balance between truth and expectation. Experiments reveal the depth of this echo. In studies of sound, participants often react milliseconds before a tone arrives, as if the body hears the silence leading into the sound. Musicians rely on this, their fingers moving just before the note, their ears anticipating harmony. Without this echo, music would collapse. There would be no rhythm, no flow, no coherence. It is the echo before the sound that makes melody possible, the brain sketching the next beat so the present one can be felt in full. Music is not simply heard, it is predicted, imagined, echoed into existence. The echo also lives in memory. When you recall a familiar place, you not only remember what was, but anticipate what would be. A kitchen smells of food not yet cooked. A schoolyard hums with laughter not yet released. Memory and prediction blur, so that the world is experienced not only as it is, but as it is expected to be. This blending gives continuity to life, weaving past and future into the present, echoing moments before they occur. Without it, existence would feel jagged, fragmented, always late, never whole. And so the echo before the sound is not a trick but a foundation. It is the way the brain ensures that life flows, that the world feels seamless, that the self feels continuous. It is the soft whisper of neurons rehearsing, the body leaning into the next instant, the consciousness echoing tomorrow into today. To live is to hear these echoes, to see these sketches, to feel the world before it arrives. You may not always notice, but it is there, in every glance, every breath, every beat of the heart, the future already murmuring in the silence of now. Imagine standing in a forest as the storm approaches. The leaves stir, the air thickens, the silence shifts. You feel the thunder before it rolls. You see the lightning before it cracks. The body braces. The mind anticipates. The echo of the storm fills the air before the storm itself arrives. This is not imagination. It is perception leaning forward, echoing the sound before it sounds, seeing the light before it shines. The forest teaches what science affirms, that you are always a little ahead of the world, living not only in what is, but in what is about to be. And in this realization lies a kind of peace, for it means you are never caught entirely unprepared, never stranded in pure present. Always there is an echo, a whisper, a sketch of tomorrow carried within. It may not always be accurate, it may falter, it may deceive, but it is always present, guiding, softening, connecting. The echo before the sound is not a flaw but a gift, a reminder that you are part of a rhythm larger than yourself, a rhythm that leans forward into the unfolding of time. To wander deeper into the mystery of the echo before the sound is to recognize that life itself depends upon it. Without this anticipatory whisper, the world would arrive too late, striking you with fragments that never fit together. Imagine if each sound, each sight, each movement came only as it was. You would stumble, fail to catch, fail to respond. Instead, perception leans into the future, smoothing the jagged edges of time, weaving fragments into fluid motion. The echo before the sound is not optional. It is the very foundation of survival. Think of the simple act of catching a ball. The eyes do not wait to record each frame. They forecast the arc, the speed, the landing point. Muscles move before the ball arrives, guided by predictions that echo the path in advance. Without this forecasting, you would reach too late. Even the blink of an eye follows prediction, the lids closing not only to shield but to prepare, as if the body rehearses the impact of light before it strikes. These tiny forecasts accumulate, shaping every gesture into a dance with the future. Consider how this echo guides speech. In conversation, you do not simply hear syllables, you anticipate rhythm, tone, and meaning. This is why you can finish a friend's sentence, why you can laugh at a joke before the punchline is complete. The brain is already there, weaving the next words, echoing the sound before it has been made. This predictive flow allows language to be understood despite its speed, despite noise, despite interruptions. Without it, sentences would break apart, leaving only fragments. With it, you hear not only what is said, but what is about to be said. and meaning unfolds seamlessly. The echo before the sound is not limited to language or motion. It inhabits vision, taste, and touch. When you see lightning in the sky, you anticipate thunder, bracing your body before it roars. When you smell bread baking, you anticipate flavor, saliva rising before the first bite. When someone reaches toward you, you anticipate contact, the skin tingling with expectation before the touch arrives. Each sense leans forward, echoing what has not yet been, creating a world that feels whole. This is why perception feels immediate, though in truth it is stitched together from fragments, guided by echoes of what is to come. Science describes this as predictive coding, a model in which the brain is less a receiver than a forecaster. Signals from the world are compared with predictions, and differences are corrected. Reality is not given, it is constructed from expectation and adjustment. This construction is so fluid that you rarely notice it, except when it fails. An illusion, a hallucination, a misheard word. These reveal the guesswork beneath perception, the echo that sometimes rings falsely. And yet, even in error, the echo is essential, for without it, the world would shatter into meaningless instants. One of the most striking examples of this is music. A melody is not merely a sequence of sounds, but a pattern of expectations. Each note suggests the next, each pause hints at what will follow. When the pattern is fulfilled, you feel resolution. When it is broken, you feel surprise. Musicians play with this tension, giving you enough to anticipate but not enough to fully predict, creating pleasure in the balance of echo and reality. Without the echo before the sound, music would collapse into chaos, a series of unconnected tones. With it, music becomes story, emotion, memory, a weaving of time itself. The echo also explains why silence can be so powerful. After a symphony halts, after a voice stops, the echo lingers, the brain continues the melody, the sentence, the thought. This lingering is anticipation unfinished, a future sketched but withheld. In silence, the echo fills the void, and you feel presence even without sound. Poets know this, using pauses as meaning. Teachers know this, letting silence carry weight. Lovers know this, where a pause before a kiss is more powerful than the kiss itself. The echo before the sound gives silence its depth, for silence is never empty when the mind is full of expectation. Illusions reveal the same truth. In the famous missing phoneme experiment, a sound is masked by noise, yet the brain fills it in, and listeners hear a complete word. The echo supplies what is absent, turning fragments into wholeness. In visual illusions, the same occurs. A figure partly hidden is completed, a motion partly seen is extended. These illusions are not mistakes, they are windows into the echo, into the way perception leans ahead. They show that reality is not simply received but built, always with the whisper of what is likely, what is expected, what is about to come. Even memory itself is shaped by this echo. When you recall the past, you do not retrieve it as it was. You reconstruct it, guided by present expectations. Memory is predictive in reverse, an echo of what you believe should have been, not always what was. This is why memories shift, why they are coloured by emotion, why they feel alive. The brain does not separate past from future. Both are constructed from the same anticipatory machinery. To remember is to echo what has been. To perceive is to echo what will be. In this sense, you live always in echoes, forward and backward, stitched into the flow of time. Consider walking through a familiar street. You expect certain sights, the curve of the road, the colour of a wall, the sound of footsteps on stone. When these expectations are met, you feel ease. When they are broken, you feel surprise, even unease. This is the echo guiding your journey, the brain preparing the world in advance. In unfamiliar places, the echo falters and you feel disoriented. The mind has no sketch to lean on, no echo to follow, and so the world feels sharper, louder, heavier. Exploration is thrilling because the echo is thin, reality raw, unpredicted. But home is comforting because the echo is strong, reality anticipated, familiar. The echo before the sound also shapes emotion. Fear is an echo of harm before it arrives, the body bracing against imagined danger. Joy is an echo of delight anticipated, the smile rising before the gift is opened. Sorrow is an echo of loss not yet lived, felt in advance. In this way, emotion is not only reaction, but also premonition, an echo of futures drawn close. Life is thus lived not only in what happens, but in what is expected to happen, each moment tinged with echoes of the next. At its core, the echo before the sound is a lesson about consciousness itself. To be conscious is not only to register the present, but to lean forward, to echo the future into now. Without this, the self would feel fragmented, delayed, incomplete. With it, life feels fluid, continuous, alive. The echo softens time, making the world feel whole, and though the echo may deceive, though it may mislead, it is also the very reason reality feels coherent. You are never simply here, you are always already there, hearing the sound before it sounds, seeing the sight before it shines, living in the echo of what is yet to be. The echo before the sound is not only a feature of perception, it is a philosophy of living. To know that your mind anticipates is to realize that you never experience the world as raw and immediate. Everything you sense is filtered through expectation, shaped by echoes that arrive a fraction before the world itself. This does not make reality less real. It makes reality more fluid, more deeply human, for what you perceive is always entwined with what you imagine. You are both a witness and a forecaster, both a listener and a composer, hearing echoes even in silence. Think of walking beside a river at twilight. The water murmurs over stone, the air is thick with the scent of moss and damp earth. You hear the splash of a fish before it leaps, your body bracing for the sound that follows the ripple. Each footstep echoes in your ears, but the rhythm is already predicted, so the sound feels whole, seamless. This continuity, this flow, is the gift of anticipation. Without it, each step would feel strange, each sound abrupt, each sight fragmented. With it, you live inside a river of time, where the present carries with it not only what is, but what is about to be. This echo stretches into relationships. When you know someone well, you anticipate their gestures, their tone, their laughter. You hear the shape of their voice before it rises. You sense the direction of their thoughts before they are spoken. This is not magic, but intimacy. The weaving of countless echoes into familiarity. Love deepens because of this anticipation. Friendship grows because of this foresight. To know another is to hear their echoes before their sounds, to sense their presence not only in the moment but in the moment just ahead. This is how trust forms, how bonds feel continuous, how the self feels extended beyond itself into others, but the echo also humbles. for it reminds you that what you perceive is never pure, never untouched by prediction. You see what you expect to see, you hear what you expect to hear, you feel what you expect to feel. This is why misunderstandings occur, why illusions deceive, why bias persists. The echo paints reality in advance, and sometimes it paints wrongly. Yet even in its errors, it reveals the structure of perception, the way consciousness leans forward. To live with awareness of this is to live more gently, to question certainty, to honour the fragility of perception itself. In art, the echo becomes a tool. A storyteller builds expectation, echoing the ending before it arrives. A painter suggests form with shadow, the viewer's mind completing what is hinted. A composer writes silence that the audience fills with anticipated sound. Art thrives on the echo, playing with it, bending it, fulfilling it or breaking it. The pleasure of a symphony, the thrill of a novel, the awe of a painting, all arise from the dance between echo and reality, between what is expected and what is revealed. Art is an exploration of this very phenomenon, an invitation to feel the future before it comes. Even dreams are echoes. At night, the mind rehearses, anticipates, imagines futures not yet lived. These dreams may never arrive, yet they shape waking life, guiding decisions, colouring emotions. Dreams are echoes of futures that may or may not be, but in experiencing them, you extend your consciousness into possibility. The echo before the sound is thus not confined to waking perception. It spills into the theatre of sleep, where the brain continues its gentle forecasting, sketching worlds that never were yet still influence what will be. The echo also touches the spiritual. Many traditions speak of intuition, of foresight, of feeling the future. Science grounds this in prediction, in anticipation, in the echo of neural signals rehearsing what is likely. But perhaps the boundary is not so sharp. To feel the future is both biology and mystery, both mechanism and meaning. The echo before the sound may be the scientific explanation for what poetry calls premonition, for what spirituality calls insight. It is not that the future is known, but that the mind is always leaning toward it, hearing faint whispers of what could be. In the end, the echo before the sound is less about accuracy than about continuity. Life feels whole because perception is never late, never fragmented. The echo carries you forward, allowing you to catch the ball, understand the sentence, feel the music, trust the world. Even when it falters, even when it deceives, it is still the thread that binds moments into experience. Without it, time would break apart and consciousness itself would unravel. With it, you live in a stream, flowing, connected, anticipating, alive. So let the echo remind you of your nature. You are not a passive recorder, but an active weaver of reality. You live in expectation, in anticipation, in gentle forecasts that colour every sound, every sight, every thought. This is not weakness but grace, the way consciousness softens time. When you listen closely, you may even sense it. The echo before the sound, the whisper of the next moment, the shimmer of what has not yet come. And in sensing it, you may feel peace, for you are never stranded in the present. You are always carried forward, always touched by the future, always alive in the quiet echo that makes the world whole. And when silence surrounds you, when no sound is present, you may notice that the echo still lingers. The brain hums with predictions, the body waits for the next breath, the mind leans forward into tomorrow. Silence is never empty. for it is filled with echoes of what is to come. In that silence you can feel your belonging to time itself, a being stretched between past and future, stitched together by echoes, living always in the tender anticipation of what has not yet arrived. This is the poetry of perception, the gift of the echo before the sound, the gentle truth that consciousness is always already leaning into tomorrow. Dreams arrive each night like travellers from a future not yet lived. They bring fragments of memory, whispers of desire, shadows of fear, and weave them into landscapes that feel both strange and familiar. In the quiet theatre of sleep, you walk through places that do not exist, speak words you never planned, encounter people who are both known and unknown. And when you wake, you often carry the feeling that the dream was not merely a reflection of the past, but a rehearsal for something yet to come. Science tells us that dreams are the mind's way of processing, predicting, and preparing. Poets tell us that dreams are windows into possibility. Between these two truths lies a gentle wonder, that consciousness does not rest at night, but instead continues to lean toward the future, dreaming the path ahead. Sleep itself is not a shutting down, but a transformation. The body rests, the senses quiet, but the brain becomes a stage alive with activity. Neurons fire in patterns that mimic waking life, replaying events of the day, mixing them with imagination, reshaping them into stories that never were. This reshaping is not random. Studies show that dreams help consolidate memory, strengthen learning, and prime the mind for challenges yet to come. If you practice a skill during the day, you may dream of it at night, and when you wake, you perform better, as though the dream itself has rehearsed your body into readiness. Dreams are not distractions, they are rehearsals for futures that may one day unfold. Think of the child who dreams of flying. It may never happen in waking life, yet the dream shapes imagination, encouraging the brain to explore possibilities beyond gravity. Think of the artist who dreams of colours never seen, who wakes inspired to paint with new vision. Think of the scientist who dreams of equations, waking to discoveries that advance understanding. History is full of dreams that have preceded invention, from the discovery of chemical structures to the melodies of symphonies. Dreams are not only mirrors of memory but seeds of creation, carrying fragments of futures that might be born. But dreams are not always gentle. Nightmares haunt with images of fear, loss, or danger. Yet even these have purpose. They prepare the mind for threat, allowing it to rehearse survival in the safety of sleep. A dream of being chased may sharpen the body's readiness for alarm. A dream of falling may strengthen reflexes of balance. Nightmares are the shadowed side of rehearsal, the darker script that readies you for the unexpected. They are uncomfortable, but they are also teachers, reminding you that anticipation is not only about joy but also about protection. The science of dreaming reveals intricate rhythms. Rapid eye movement sleep, or REM sleep, is the stage most tied to vivid dreams. During REM, the brain is as active as in waking life, yet the body is stilled. Muscles paralyze so that you do not act out the stories unfolding within. This paradox, a racing mind in a resting body, is what allows dreams to be so immersive. The mind is free to wander without consequence, to explore without danger, to anticipate without restraint. It is here that the path ahead is rehearsed most vividly, a stage where possibility itself is the script. Some dreams carry uncanny foresight. People report dreaming of events before they occur, of meeting strangers they later encounter, of dangers that later unfold. Science is cautious, attributing these to coincidence, memory distortion, or the brain's ability to notice patterns unconsciously. Yet for those who experience them, the feeling is undeniable that the dream was a glimpse of the future. Whether literal or metaphorical, such dreams reveal the same truth, that consciousness is not fixed in the present but stretches into possibility, sketching paths ahead even while the body sleeps. Imagination and dreaming are not separate. They are branches of the same tree. In waking life, imagination allows you to picture tomorrow, to plan, to hope, to fear. In sleep, dreaming takes this further, weaving images into narratives, exploring futures that imagination alone cannot hold. Both serve the same purpose, see, to extend consciousness beyond the now, to give you tools for survival, for creation, for meaning. Without imagination, you would be bound to the present. Without dreams, you would lack rehearsal for the future. Together, they are the wings of the mind, carrying you always forward. Dreams also serve as emotional healers. In the night, unresolved feelings are replayed, reshaped and softened. Loss is revisited until it becomes bearable. Fear is faced until it loses its sharpest edge. Love is relived until it deepens into memory. The dream does not erase pain but transforms it, offering perspective, distance, integration. In this way, dreams prepare the heart for what lies ahead, helping you to carry tomorrow's weight with a lighter step. They are not only rehearsals for action, but rehearsals for feeling, ensuring that when the future arrives, you are ready not only in body but in soul. Imagine lying beneath the stars, drifting into sleep. The world fades, but within you, a new world rises. A staircase appears leading to a door. You open it, and behind it lies a place you have never seen. You walk through it, uncertain but curious, guided by the images you did not choose. This is the nature of dreaming, to take you where you have never been, to show you paths you did not know existed. When you wake, the memory may linger, faint but powerful, like a map folded into your chest. It is not a literal map, but a symbolic one, a chart of possibilities, a sketch of futures that your waking mind may one day follow. Dreams remind you that the self is not fixed. Each night you become many versions of yourself: hero, victim, wanderer, creator. Each role expands your imagination, preparing you for the multiplicity of life. Tomorrow you may need courage. The dream of bravery strengthens you. Tomorrow you may face sorrow. The dream of loss teaches you. Tomorrow you may create. The dream of inspiration readies you. In this way, dreams are not meaningless but essential rehearsals, each one shaping you for the paths ahead. And so the path of dreaming is a path of anticipation. It is the echo of the future heard in the silence of sleep. It is the rehearsal of tomorrow played upon the stage of night. It is the proof that consciousness never rests but always leans forward, even in slumber. Dreams are not interruptions to life. They are part of life's forward reach, carrying you into futures imagined, futures feared, futures desired. They are the gentle prophets of possibility, the quiet architects of what is yet to come. To continue along the path of dreams is to realize how seamlessly they bind the past with the future. During the night, the mind gathers fragments of memory, sorting, weaving, reshaping. These fragments are not stitched together as they happened, but transformed, blended with imagination to form narratives that feel entirely new. This is why dreams often seem strange, surreal, or impossible, because they are not replays but rehearsals. They are drafts of possibility, constructed from the ink of memory and the brush of imagination. Rehearsals for futures that may never arrive but which still prepare you for life. Science has shown that dreaming is essential for learning. When animals are trained in new tasks, their brains replay the same patterns during sleep, as though the mind were practicing in silence. Humans too experience this. A student who studies before sleep recalls more the next day because the dream consolidates memory, rehearsing it into permanence. A pianist practicing a melody may dream of the notes, the fingers moving across invisible keys. Upon waking, the performance improves, as though the dream had added hidden hours of practice. This rehearsal is not conscious, yet it is effective, the mind leaning into the future with every dream. But dreams go beyond simple rehearsal. They are also laboratories of emotion, places where feelings are tested, stretched, and resolved. If the day brings conflict, the night may bring a dream of resolution. If the day brings longing, the night may offer fulfillment, however fleeting. These emotional rehearsals shape how you respond when similar situations arise in waking life. The dream of confrontation prepares you to face it. The dream of love prepares you to feel it. In this way, dreaming extends the heart into futures that may come, softening the impact, strengthening the response. Nightmares, though troubling, serve their own purpose. They are rehearsals of danger, preparing the body for alarm. A dream of falling, though terrifying, may tune reflexes of balance. A dream of being chased, though exhausting, primes the heart for speed, the muscles for escape. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. To simulate danger in safety is to prepare for it without risk. Nightmares may not be pleasant, but they are teachers, sharpening anticipation, reminding you that the future is not only joy but also uncertainty. To dream is to prepare for both light and shadow. Some dreams seem prophetic. People report foreseeing events, encounters, or dangers. Science explains this as coincidence, the mind noticing patterns unconsciously, then weaving them into dreams that later align with reality. Yet regardless of explanation, the feeling is powerful, that the dream reached forward into time. Whether literal foresight or subtle intuition, such dreams remind you that consciousness is not bound to the present. It is always reaching, echoing, sketching. Dreams are part of this reaching, carrying whispers of futures possible, probable, or imagined. Imagination and dreaming intertwine here. In waking life, imagination allows you to picture what is not yet, to plan, to invent, to hope. In sleep, dreaming takes this further, turning imagination into experience, allowing you to walk within it, to feel it as real. This is why dreams leave such strong impressions, even when their logic dissolves. They feel lived, embodied, as if you have stepped into a future that could be. Imagination sketches the map. Dreaming lets you walk the path. Both are essential, for together they prepare you to move into tomorrow. Dreams also show how flexible the self truly is. In them, you become countless versions of yourself, strong, weak, joyous, grieving, lost, triumphant. Each role is a rehearsal, preparing you for lives you may never live, but which shape the one you do. Tomorrow you may need courage. Tonight you dream of bravery. Tomorrow you may face sorrow. Tonight you dream of loss. Tomorrow you may create. Tonight you dream of beauty. The self is not fixed, it is rehearsed each night, reshaped into countless possibilities, ready to adapt, ready to grow. Consider also the communal aspect of dreams. For centuries, cultures have gathered to share them, treating them as messages, as prophecies, as wisdom. Whether or not dreams foretell literal futures, they reveal truths of the psyche, patterns of emotion, warnings of imbalance. A shared dream becomes a shared rehearsal, a way for communities to anticipate together. In this way, dreams are not only personal but social, guiding not only individuals but groups along the path of possibility. To dream is to belong, to share in the great rehearsal of humanity. Dreaming also reveals the creativity of the mind. In dreams, the strict boundaries of logic dissolve, allowing new combinations, new metaphors, new inventions. Artists and scientists alike have drawn from this well. The chemist Kekle dreamt of a snake biting its tail, leading to the discovery of the benzene ring. Musicians dream melodies, painters dream colours, writers dream stories. These dreams are not random, they are rehearsals of creation, imagination freed from waking constraints. When you wake and bring these dreams into the world, you carry forward the fruits of the rehearsal, turning possibility into reality. Dreams prepare not only for futures likely but for futures impossible. You may never fly in waking life, yet to dream of flight is to feel freedom, to expand imagination. You may never meet mythical beings, yet to dream of them is to explore archetypes, symbols, truths hidden within. These impossible rehearsals still shape waking life, for they expand what the mind can conceive, and what the mind can conceive the body may pursue. Even the impossible dream leaves its trace, shaping the path ahead in ways subtle but profound. And so dreaming is not a passive act, but an essential one. It is rehearsal, preparation, exploration, healing, creation. It is the way consciousness leans forward in the quiet hours, continuing the work of anticipation even in sleep. You may wake and forget the details, but the rehearsal remains, etched into memory, into reflex, into emotion. The path ahead is not unknown to you. It has been walked in dreams, rehearsed in shadows, carried within you. This is why dreams feel so significant, why they linger, why they matter. They are the unseen steps you take into tomorrow. To close the journey of dreams is to recognize how deeply they shape your waking life, even when you do not recall them. Each night your brain rehearses countless futures, sorts through countless pasts, and builds bridges between them. You may wake with no memory, yet your emotions are lighter, your thoughts clearer, your body more prepared. This is the quiet work of dreaming, to carry you through time, to soften the weight of memory, and to strengthen your steps toward tomorrow. Is a labour so gentle that you barely notice it, yet without it, life unravels. Sleep researchers have found that when dreaming is deprived, the mind begins to fray. Concentration weakens, emotions grow volatile, memory falters, and perception becomes unsteady. The silent rehearsal of dreams is not luxury but necessity. Without it, the world feels fragmented, as though anticipation has been stripped away. With it, life regains continuity, a seamless flow that allows you to move forward with ease. This reveals the profound truth that dreaming is not escape from life, but part of life's very fabric, woven into the rhythm of existence. Dreams also remind you of the mystery of time. In them, past and future dissolve, mingling in ways impossible in waking life. You may speak to ancestors long gone, then step into futures not yet lived. You may shift from child to adult to elder in a single narrative. This fluidity reflects the way consciousness itself stretches across time, refusing to be confined to now. In dreams, you are proof that memory and anticipation are not opposites but companions, each echoing into the other, each shaping the story of who you are. The emotional power of dreams cannot be overstated. A dream of reunion can soothe grief, even if only for a moment. A dream of triumph can strengthen resolve, even if it fades upon waking. A dream of loss can prepare the heart for sorrows yet to come, cushioning the blow. These emotions are not illusions. They are rehearsals. They teach you how to feel, how to endure, how to love, how to let go. In this sense, dreams are not only about survival, but about humanity itself, the quiet teachers of empathy, resilience, and meaning. Consider how often dreams inspire action. A person may wake from a dream with clarity about a decision, courage to take a step, or vision to create. The dream does not command but suggests, offering symbols, images, metaphors that linger and guide. You may dream of walking a path and upon waking realize you must choose one in life. You may dream of water and upon waking feel the need to cleanse or begin anew. Dreams speak in symbols, but their influence is tangible. They are not predictions of fate, but invitations to possibility, sketches of futures that your waking self may one day choose to follow. And so, dreams connect the seen with the unseen. They are rooted in biology, in neural firing, in memory consolidation, yet they blossom into poetry, into visions, into whispers of tomorrow. To dismiss them as meaningless is to ignore half of consciousness, the half that thrives when eyes are closed. To honour them is to honour the fullness of being, the way the mind never ceases its forward reach. In dreams, body rests, but the spirit wanders, exploring paths the waking self cannot yet tread. This wandering is not wasted. It prepares you for uncertainty, for joy, for grief, for creation. Each night, you are many selves in many worlds, and each morning you return a little more whole, a little more ready. Even forgotten dreams leave their trace, like footprints in sand erased by tide but felt in the firmness of your step. You are shaped by them, even in absence. They are part of you, as essential as breath, as constant as heartbeat, as enduring as time. At the deepest level, dreams remind you that the self is unfinished. You are not fixed, not final, but always becoming. Each night adds to this becoming, rehearsing futures, reshaping memories, rebalancing emotions. The path ahead is never unknown, for part of you has already walked it in dreams, and when the future arrives, it feels less strange, less sudden, because you have rehearsed its echo in the quiet hours of night. This is the secret gift of dreaming. It makes the future familiar, even before it has come. Imagine now, lying down to sleep, the world dimming, the body surrendering. As you drift, you enter once more the silent theatre, the stage of possibility. You may not know the script, but you trust it. You may not recall the scene, but they will shape you. Dreams are not interruptions, but continuations, threads in the great weaving of consciousness. They are the proof that even in stillness you are moving forward, dreaming the path ahead, preparing for the life that awaits. And so, to honour dreams is to honour anticipation itself, For every dream is a kind of foresight, a whisper of the future spoken in symbols. Every dream is a rehearsal, a sketch, a gentle prophecy. You may not always understand, but you are always carried by them. The dream does not promise certainty, but it promises readiness. And when you wake, you step into the day not alone, but accompanied by countless unseen rehearsals, countless whispers of futures already dreamt. This is the poetry of dreaming. You are always prepared, always guided, always moving into tomorrow, on paths your mind has already walked in sleep. Within you, countless cells are carrying a script. It is not written in ink nor carved in stone, but coiled in spirals of molecules, hidden in the quiet nucleus of each cell. This script is DNA, a long thread of code that stretches back billions of years and forward into futures not yet lived. Each twist of the helix holds instructions, not only for who you are, but for who you might become. In this way, every cell is a time traveler, carrying memories of the past and blueprints of the future. To live is to walk within this continuity, guided by a language older than the stars. DNA is both history and prophecy. It is history because it records the journey of ancestors, the survival of generations who passed it down. It is prophecy because it anticipates what your body will build, how it will grow, how it will respond to the world. From the moment of conception, this script begins to play, unfolding into tissues, organs, rhythms, and responses. Yet the script is not rigid. It is more like music, a score that can be played in countless ways, influenced by environment, experience, chance. The future inside every cell is not fixed but fluid, a dance between code and context. Consider the way a seed holds the future of a tree. Within its tiny form lies the possibility of trunk, branch, leaf, and fruit. It does not yet stand tall, yet the instructions are there, waiting for soil, water, and sunlight. Your cells are like this. They hold the possibility of growth, healing, and adaptation, waiting for the right conditions to unfold. The seed does not know the exact shape it will take, only the range of forms written within. In the same way, your DNA carries futures that are not absolute but possible, written in the language of life's potential. Each cell is a library. Within its nucleus, strands of DNA contain instructions for thousands of proteins, the building blocks of life. These proteins guide every process, carrying oxygen, transmitting signals, digesting food, repairing damage. Yet not every page of the library is read at once. Cells choose which instructions to follow, turning genes on or off depending on need. This choice is shaped by signals from the environment, from other cells, from the world outside. In this way, the future inside every cell is not predetermined but responsive, a dialogue between inner code and outer world. The poetry of this lies in the balance between determinism and freedom. The script is there, yet it is not dictatorial. It offers structure but allows improvisation. Identical twins share the same script, yet they live different lives, shaped by subtle differences in environment and experience. The code is shared, but the performance is unique. This is why no two humans are exactly alike, why every being is both predictable and surprising. The future inside every cell is not a prison, but a song, one that can be sung in infinite variations. But DNA carries more than instructions for the body. It carries echoes of ancestry. You are not only yourself, but the continuation of countless lives that came before. Within your cells are traces of ancient bacteria, remnants of viruses, whispers of migrations and adaptations that shaped your lineage. When you move, breathe, love, and create, you're enacting futures that were made possible by pasts you do not remember. The script in your cells is a bridge across time, carrying the resilience of survival, the persistence of life, the promise of tomorrow. Science has revealed that DNA is not silent. It mutates, shifts, changes. Sometimes these changes are harmful, leading to illness, but often they are the seeds of adaptation. Evolution itself is written in these shifts, tiny errors that become new possibilities. The future inside every cell is not static but evolving, rewriting itself with each generation. You are not simply the product of a fixed script. You are part of an ongoing story, one that stretches beyond your own life into the lives that may follow. In this way, your cells are both your own and not your own. They belong to the river of life itself. Think of the way cells heal. When the skin is cut, cells rush to repair, reading instructions that guide them to close the wound. When infection arrives, immune cells multiply, carrying codes for defense. These responses are not chosen consciously. They are written into the script, rehearsed across millennia. In every act of healing, you can see the future inside your cells, a future of survival, of resilience, of persistence. The body is not only reacting to harm, but anticipating it, ready with instructions long before the danger appears. This anticipation is itself a kind of foresight, carried not in thought but in code. Even aging's part of this script. Cells replicate a finite number of times, their ends fraying with each division. This slow unravelling is part of the future written within, the body's way of marking time. Yet even here, variation exists. Some cells repair more efficiently, some age more slowly, some adapt more creatively. The future inside every cell includes decline, but also resilience, adaptation, and transformation. To age is not only to move toward ending, but to reveal the richness of the script, the many ways it can play itself out. And so you are a being made of futures. Each cell carries potential, each strand of DNA holds instructions, each mutation offers possibility. To live is to embody these futures, to let them unfold in the dance between biology and world. You're not merely a passenger of fate, but a participant in the great improvisation of life. The script is there, but the performance is yours. And in this performance, the future inside every cell becomes not only science, but poetry. A quiet reminder that you are always more than you know, always carrying within you the seeds of tomorrow. To look more closely at the script within your cells is to see that it is not a rigid chain of commands, but a living dialogue. Each gene is like a note in a great composition, and the way those notes are played depends on countless signals, both from within and from the world outside. This is why two people with similar DNA can live such different lives, why health and illness are shaped not only by inheritance but by choice, environment, and chance. The future inside every cell is not destiny written in stone, but music unfolding in time, improvising with every breath you take. Every moment, your genes are responding to the world. Sunlight touches skin and cells begin producing vitamin D, a molecule essential for bones and immunity. Stress tightens the body, and genes linked to cortisol awaken, preparing you for flight or fight. Food enters the stomach, and enzymes coded by DNA are released to break it down. Nothing happens in isolation. The script is not silent. It is constantly being read, edited, and reinterpreted. Epigenetics, the study of how genes are switched on or off, reveals that lifestyle, diet, stress, and even love can alter which parts of the script are expressed. You're not only carrying the future, you are shaping it. This interplay between gene and environment creates resilience. When challenges arise, the body does not collapse, it adapts. Muscles grow stronger when stressed, immune cells sharpen when tested, neurons form the new pathways when learning. Each adaptation is guided by instructions within, yet shaped by the demands of life. The future inside every cell is not a fixed portrait but a canvas, painted anew with each experience. This is why healing is possible, why growth occurs, why change is the essence of life. The script does not confine you. It offers endless variations, always leaning towards survival, always reaching for tomorrow. But the script is also shared. Half your DNA comes from your mother, half from your father, and through them, you carry fragments of ancestors stretching back thousands of generations. Every cell in your body is a museum of survival, storing the victories and struggles of those who came before. When your blood clots, you are repeating a process perfected in ancient creatures. When your eyes adjust to light, you are echoing adaptations formed in deep evolutionary time. You're not isolated, you are the continuation of life's grand story. The future inside your cells is not only yours, but a thread in the fabric of humanity, woven with countless others. Within this shared script lies diversity, the key to resilience. Genetic variation ensures that no two beings are identical, that life as a whole can withstand change. Some carry resistance to disease, some carry adaptations to climate, some carry traits that will flourish in conditions not yet known. This diversity is the future written across populations, a collective rehearsal for challenges yet to come. In this way, the future inside every cell is not only personal but communal, a chorus of possibilities that ensures life's continuity. Each person is a verse in the poem of survival, each cell a stanza in the song of evolution. Cells also remember. Beyond the DNA sequence itself lies a record of experiences written in chemical marks and molecular patterns. These epigenetic marks can last a lifetime, and in some cases, even pass to the next generation. Stress endured by one generation can echo in the health of the next. Nourishment enjoyed by parents can strengthen the resilience of children. The future inside every cell is thus not only shaped by what you live, but by what others before you lived. You are carrying more than your own story. You are carrying traces of stories never told, futures rehearsed long before your own. At the same time, cells look forward with extraordinary precision. Stem cells, for instance, hold the potential to become many types of tissue. They wait in silence until called upon, then step into their roles: a neuron, a muscle fibre, a blood cell. This capacity is foresight written into biology, the potential for transformation stored within. It is as though each stem cell carries a library of futures ready to be opened when the world asks for it. Healing, growth, development, all are made possible because cells hold this readiness, this anticipation of what may be needed. The resilience of cells is also seen in repair. DNA itself is constantly damaged by sunlight, toxins, and errors of replication, yet repair mechanisms work tirelessly to mend the strands. These repairs are not random but guided by ancient instructions rehearsed across eons of survival. Without them, the script would unravel. With them, the story continues. This is the future inside every cell, not perfection but persistence. Life has endured for billions of years because cells are always ready to correct, to adapt, to continue. You're alive today because countless cells within you are already writing tomorrow. Even the smallest acts of daily life reflect this cellular foresight. When you walk in sunlight, when you eat, when you rest, your cells are preparing you for futures both near and far. They are storing energy for tomorrow, repairing damage for the years ahead, laying down memories for times yet to come. This unseen labour is constant, tireless, and humble. The future inside every cell does not announce itself with grandeur. It works quietly, ensuring that you may continue, that you may grow, that you may love and create. It is the silent guardian of tomorrow, the quiet rhythm of persistence. And yet cells are not only guardians of survival, they are also carriers of potential beauty. Within their code lies the possibility of unique voices, new ideas, acts of kindness, works of art. Though DNA encodes biology, it indirectly encodes everything you may one day imagine or create. For without the script, there would be no brain to think, no hands to build, no heart to feel. The future inside every cell includes not only survival but also expression, not only continuation but also creation. Life's script is not limited to existence. It leans always toward flourishing, toward wonder, toward meaning. So when you pause to reflect on the cells within you, you are pausing to reflect on possibility itself. You are not a static being, but a dynamic one, shaped each moment by the dialogue between code and world. The future inside your cells is not something distant, but something present, unfolding with every breath, every heartbeat, every thought. You're not waiting for tomorrow, you're already living within it, carried forward by the quiet instructions spiraling within you. Instructions that stretch back through deep time and forward into futures yet to come. The future inside every cell is a reminder that life is not only about what has been, but about what may yet become. Each cell carries with it a script, but the script is not finished, and it is not rigid. It is a story written in possibilities, awaiting the brush of environment, the pen of experience, the ink of chance. In this way, the body is not a closed book, but an unfolding narrative, one in which every breath turns the page, every choice shapes the plot, and every moment carries both the weight of history and the seed of tomorrow. Consider how the body renews itself. Skin cells are replaced, blood cells circulate and are replenished, the lining of the stomach regenerates, bone repairs. Even the neurons of the brain, once thought fixed, reveal the capacity for new growth and connection. Renewal is not accident but design, coded within the DNA and enacted tirelessly by cells. This renewal is the proof that the future is already inside you, for you are never the same being twice. At every moment, you are being rebuilt, guided by instructions written long ago, but always expressed in new ways. You're the continuation of a story that never pauses, a story of constant becoming. Aging too is part of this unfolding script. Each cell carries within it both the promise of renewal and the shadow of decline. Telomeres, the protective caps of chromosomes, shorten with each replication, marking the passage of time. Mitochondria, the energy factories, grow less efficient. Yet even within this decline lies resilience. Cells adapt, repair, extend their lives with creative solutions. Aging is not simply decay, it is transformation, a shifting balance between endurance and surrender. The future inside every cell includes this transformation, reminding you that time itself is written into biology, and that each stage of life is part of the great design. The poetry of cells is found in their cooperation. No single cell survives alone. Each one depends on others, sharing signals, exchanging resources, communicating constantly. This cooperation is the essence of life, an endless chorus of tiny beings working together for something larger than themselves. You are the product of this cooperation, a community of trillions of cells, each one holding a fragment of the future, each one adding its voice to the harmony of being. To see yourself in this way is to see that life is never solitary. The future inside every cell is not only personal but collective, a shared script of existence. And yet, within this collectivity lies individuality. Each cell, though carrying the same script, expresses it differently depending on its role. A neuron reads different pages of the book than a muscle cell, a liver cell than a skin cell. This specialization creates the complexity of life, the diversity of functions that allow a single being to move, think, heal, love. The future inside every cell is thus not uniform but diverse, a branching of paths that together create wholeness. This is why life feels both singular and vast, why identity feels both personal and universal. You are one, and you are many. This script also connects you to all other life. The DNA in your cells is not entirely unique. Much of it is shared with plants, animals, even the simplest microbes. You share genes with birds, with trees, with fungi, with whales. The future inside your cells is intertwined with theirs, a common language spoken across the biosphere. This shared heritage reminds you that life is not separate but connected. Each species a variation on the same script, each carrying futures that ripple into the others. To honor your cells is to honor the cells of all beings, for they are branches of the same tree, growing together through time. There is also mystery in what lies beyond the script. For while DNA explains much, it does not explain everything. Consciousness, love, creativity, these are not written in simple sequences of nucleotides. They emerge from the vast interplay of cells and environment, genes and experience, structure and chance. The future inside every cell is powerful, but it is not the whole of who you are. There is always more, always the ineffable, always the poetry of existence that transcends the code. The script is foundation, but you are the unfolding, the improvisation, the song that rises beyond the notes. And perhaps this is the most comforting truth, that you are not bound by the script but accompanied by it. Your cells carry guidance, resilience, memory and possibility, but they do not dictate your destiny. They offer potential and you bring it to life. You are co-author with your biology, co-creator with your cells. Together, you shape the future, each moment a choice, each action even a verse, each dream a step forward. The future inside every cell is not only within you, but expressed through you, in the way you live, in the way you love, in the way you imagine. Imagine then your life as a garden. Each cell is a seed carrying instructions for growth. Some seeds bloom quickly, some slowly, some remain dormant until the right conditions arrive. You are the gardener, tending this garden, shaping its growth with choices, with care, with environment. The garden is never complete, always changing, always alive with new blossoms. And when you pause to breathe, to reflect, you realize that the garden is not separate from the earth itself. that your cells are echoes of the planet's own life, carrying its history, shaping its future. So let the future inside your cells remind you of your place in the grand story. You're both ancient and new, both memory and possibility. You're not simply moving through time. Time is moving through you, written in spirals of code, enacted in rhythms of renewal, carried in the whispers of biology. And as you walk forward, you are never without guidance, for within you, in every cell, the future is already waiting, quietly, patiently, unfolding into being. In the quiet of reflection, you may feel this truth settle upon you, that you are not a fixed being, but a becoming, that the script within your cells is not a chain, but a song, that every breath is both an echo of the past and a rehearsal of the future. And with this awareness comes peace, the peace of knowing that you are part of life's endless unfolding, that you are carried forward by the resilience of countless cells, that you are always already living tomorrow in the rhythm of today. The story of your cells is the story of anticipation itself. They prepare, adapt, remember, and evolve. They hold within them the map of survival, the blueprint of possibility, the script of futures yet unseen. Though the details of tomorrow remain hidden, the readiness is already there, coiled in every strand of DNA, pulsing in every beat of life. To live is to trust this readiness, to honor it, to walk gently into the future knowing that you are not alone, for the future is already inside you, written in the smallest threads of your being, carried in the silent language of every cell.